90 Day Fiance. The other way, oh my God, that was really good. So let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, and by the way, this is going to be brought to you from an urban, indigenous perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. And I want to key in on the secular part because we are dealing with people from different religious backgrounds, which makes this, increasingly interesting, right? Because as we see through the trials and tribulations. So if you like the video, go ahead and please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, all that good stuff. Turn on your notification bell. So let's talk about Jen. All right, so we start off with Jen. So Jen takes a fitness class, and this is with her buddy. And her buddy apparently he knew her like back when she was in India the first time. So he's doing these classes, and they're moving. I mean, they look like they're having a seizure. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is terrible. There's like no rhythm here. So anyway, her friend sits down and tells her, like the realities, like, she's like, do you think this is strange? And, he's like, well, this is Indian culture. And, he should have at least told his parents by now certain things are cultural and certain things he's not being upfront with you about. And then we get over to Jamie and Chris. So they go furniture shopping. And then Chris breaks the news to Jamie that she's going to have to go back to Alabama for a court case because apparently she had this expensive classic motorcycle, vintage motorcycle that somebody stole. And, now she has to go back to court and like, so he doesn't go free. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, all right. Now, if you're saying you lost out money because of this guy, so because now you couldn't sell that motorcycle, who you said you would sell it for no one else in the world other than Jamie, and now you have to fly back. So the expense of flying back, and we don't know right now if 90 Day or if TLC is paying for flights to go back, but I kind of have a hard time believing that they would pay for you to go back when the show is about you going to that country. Like, isn't that part of the contract? I mean, that's what I would assume, right? So she goes, oh, hi, Lee Pepper. How are you? Oh my God, you're my new subscriber. I saw you last week. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh my God, that's so exciting. Listen, guys, you know how it is. I hate talking to myself, like, through this computer screen here. So thank you so much. Did you catch it? It was crazy, right? We got some juice to get into. So let's dive in. So here goes Jamie, like, she's like, wait a minute, hold on, you gotta go where to do what? And now she's all upset. She's thinking, she's just like making up some excuse because she ghosted me. And remember, Jamie started talking to that Puerto Rican girl, right? That was getting kind of saucy with the last time that her and Chris got into a fight. And then it got a little bit, some ghosting and some, hooking up with other people and stuff like that. And this Puerto Rican girl apparently lives in Texas. I keep calling her the Puerto Rican girl. I don't know her name because we don't, she didn't mention her name, obviously. So now she's all upset. Now, Chris has me a little bit concerned because, Chris, she has a few things, okay, that come along with her. And I do come from a place of empathy when it comes down to, her lumbar issues. I had the same thing. I had surgery. I mean, my life changed completely. I mean, just the basic day-to-day things that I cannot do when, I mean, I couldn't walk for a long time. And she has it in the upper region, in the neck area. And I was like, okay, but why didn't you let her know that you had all of this and stuff before you got there, right? Because that's kind of a lot to drop on somebody who thinks they're going to have like this whirlwind romance and the only thing they have to worry about is like getting, accessories to match like the titty pillows, right? So anyway, Jamie's all upset. And she's like, no, I'm telling you, I'm going to come back. So let's forget Jamie or Chris's ailments at the moment. Let's just focus on the fact that she would have to go back. So if it's, as I'm assuming, that she would have to pay for her own ticket, I mean, the ticket back and forth, okay, round trip. Alabama's not, it's not like she lives in Canada. I mean, it's not that far from Columbia. Okay, so maybe the ticket's not going to be that much money round trip, but I don't know. Isn't that the money that you need to be putting into like funding this new dream? Because you're already upset that that Chris decided to get an apartment that's $100 over budget. I mean, this is a lot. Now, I mean, I am glad. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm so glad that we finally have some LGBT, like storylines, right? I mean, I'm married and everything, but I'm still part of the community, and I feel as though I feel as though, damn, why do we have to start off with like this kind of madness? You know what I'm saying? And then we get into Gabe's storyline a little bit later, but I guess it can never be like perfect roses because it has to be a little bit crazy. Otherwise, it wouldn't be 90 Day Fiance, right? It would be 90 Day, it should be called 90 Day Dysfunction, right? International 90 Day Dysfunction. So, anyway, now we go over to Debbie. Now, Debbie, listen, listen, all right. If you guys ever used to watch In Living Color back in the day, remember Miss Benita? She used to hang out the window gossiping to everybody, and ain't no better not nobody talk about Miss Jenkins, right? That's how I feel about Debbie. Don't talk about Debbie. Debbie is my favorite. She's so eccentric. She's so like full of life, and she's like sassy. She looks like she'll tell you off in a minute. She's got all that beautiful hair, right, Lee? Right? She's got all that beautiful hair. You can tell girlfriend was a dish when she was younger. She's still pretty. I mean, you can see she was, she just aged, she's put on some weight and stuff like that, but you can still see through that she was a pretty woman. So she's on the flight. She's on her way to go see Oshama. And then she sounds like she's from a 1940s classic film there or something. Like, that's the kind of stuff that ages her, the way that she talks and, like, the way that she dresses and stuff like that. She's just so fucking out there. I love Debbie, living for her. So, anyway, she gets off the plane, right? And here she is. Here's Debbie with her little fabric fan. Oh, I can't wait to see Oshama. Now, you know that fan is not going to do shit, okay? And she's already in the air. I'm assuming that's an air conditioned, airport there, right? Where is she, in Marrakesh or something? I don't know. So she gets out and they see each other. And listen, guys, do not come for me. Do not drag me. But this is my opinion. This is my opinion. He's a simple guy, all right? When he saw her, I swear on all that is not sacred, I swear he was attracted to her. I think he was into her. Do you think he was in? I mean, he did not seem disappointed. There was no like. I mean, yeah, he didn't go in for the strong kiss or anything like that. But like in these Islamic societies, that's always how we see people when they come off the airport. They're not doing all that tonguing down and stuff like that, like in other countries, right? So we can't say because he didn't kiss her. So you thought so too? Thank you. Okay, it's not just me. All right, good. Because I mean, Lee, I was looking at her. I mean, of course she was into him. She already knows what he looks like, and she didn't catfish him, right? Those pictures were of her that we actually, what she currently looks like. And I think he just saw like a woman that he thought was older. I don't think that he's, head over heels over her age, but I think he was into her. I swear to God, I think he was into her. Call me crazy, or call me and Lee Pepper crazy because we're on the same team. I'm high fiving you, Lee. So, all right, that was just like, because, one of the things that I really live for with this show, if you guys, if this is your first time tuning in, I live for the initial reactions because I want to see if there's chemistry. I want to see body language. I want to see who's hugging, who's kissing. I want to see all of that, right? And I really I think he thought she was a pretty lady. And he's like, you know what? Listen, both of us, we can just get together. I'll give my cows to my uncle. I'll give the birds and the sheep and the chickens to my aunt. We will go back to America. Debbie's got a few missing in the back here too, right? They'll get together like on a good, like a couple's dental plan and get it all worked out. He's got it. Listen, he's a Berber. Okay, Berbers, if you guys don't know about Berbers, look them up. That is an ethnic group in North Africa. Some of them are nomadic. I don't think he's nomadic, but they have a very interesting history. So he's probably like, I'm going ahead and I'm going to harvest that American dollar. He might care about her, but I think her money. Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I do not believe, like I said, dental plan. Okay. He has got a plan in place, but I just don't think it's a point where he's going to have to just completely it's not like a Muhammad and Danielle. Remember that? Now that was a mess. That was a mess. So yes, I definitely think with the family Chantel, remember her mother? She is nuts. She's like, she would say, I believe you are trying to harvest the American dollar. And he's not stupid, right? He's not dumb. So anyway, all right, now we're gonna move over to Daniel and Johan. Oh God. She just gets on my nerves. I can't stand her. I can't even give like a good fair review because I just can't stand her. I cannot stand her. So she wakes up alone and, in the apartment, and Johann spent the night at his mom's house because they had a fight, right? So, oh, hey, good morning, Susan. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Thank you. We're just getting into it over here. We're talking about Danielle and Johann. So then he comes over, he gives a flower, he's contrite, apologetic, and stuff like that. And he goes into more detail about the story. And I don't even think he owed her an apology, because what happened between him and that woman in terms of, like, whether she aborted or she miscarried, that's kind of their business. I don't think that that's necessarily something that he has to disclose to her. But now they made up or whatever. Now, you know what? Listen. Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it, Susan. You only came in like maybe we've been on here. I've been here with Lee Pepper for about the past maybe like 10 minutes or so. So you can always, I will, when I'm done with the live, I'll put it up and you guys can always rewind and start it from the beginning. So don't worry about being late. That's fine. Um, so yeah, so anyway, somebody was, you know, people are so raw and so wrong out there. People were online saying that her and Big Ed, her and Big Ed should get together. It's like, you are so wrong for that. Hey, he's Latino. Él habla español. Her and Big Ed. Oh my God, that's so wrong. That's so wrong on so many levels. That's so wrong. But anyway, all right. So now we go to Gabe and Isabel. All right, Gabe, listen. Gabe is doing it for the trans community, honey. Listen, for the trans men out there, you got somebody giving us a good education, all right? Because even me, even with my resume, I didn't know half the stuff that he was explaining. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into that a little bit. So he's on the fence because he wants to have he's thinking about having top surgery, which was a little surprising because I had assumed that he had had it. Because remember when he was dressed up for the parade before he flew into Colombia, and him and his friend, they were dressed up outside, and he only had on his like bikini shorts or whatever. And I just thought he had already had top surgery, but apparently not. He's not satisfied, maybe because of all of the tattoos. We couldn't really tell. And he just probably already had a very small chest to begin with anyway. So, I mean, I just think they look fine. But you know what? It's when it's your body, we scrutinize ourselves to the maximum. I understand. So then he goes and, he's talking about with Isabel, like, and now I'm also thinking about having some enhancement to my already bottom surgery that I already had. And I forget, it's something plastic. And I don't remember the name of the exact procedure that he had. But anyway, he goes in with the doctor. And we are getting to see more and more with each episode how Gabe really struggles with his Spanish, right? Because we see Gabe, he's Latino, right? I just figure, he probably speaks, pretty good Spanish or whatever. But, a lot of people, they can understand when their parents talk to them, but speaking back can be a difficulty. And I think that's the situation because he's trying to do the language app and everything, and those translations were rough. Were so rough. So then he's trying to tell her, like, hey, listen, I want to, maybe increase, some of the size or the girth or whatever. He's saying that there's no floppiness in that department. It's all ready to go. Our gears are in place. And then, but the education, how he said, because she was like, well, how do reach the home base, right? And he's like, well, it's the same way as I did before transitioning, so that clear, the clear stuff, right, that women get, which is different than the men's version, is what comes out of Gabe, but it gets kind of like not exactly rerouted, but maybe with an extender because of the new phallus that's there. And I was just fascinated, honey. There was this one trans guy one time. I saw him last year, and I think, and I was really surprised at his video because it was an educational video. It was almost like him documenting his experience, and stood up in front of the camera on YouTube and saw, I mean, naked from head to toe, and honey, hung. I was like, what? I didn't know I did not know. I mean, I knew people could have surgery, but I always thought it was like not that functional or something. It was huge. I was shocked. And I was also shocked that YouTube would show it because, YouTube always gets funny about, nudity and stuff like that. But I think because it was for educational purposes, they left it up and it was done in, completely, in a tasteful way. But I mean, I was so shocked. So I knew, okay, I guess this can happen. You know, or medically it's possible, but I didn't know that all the pipes were working and all of that stuff, right? Because she kept saying, I'm completely Isabel, I'm completely satisfied, I'm completely satisfied. And I was like, okay, but I really didn't know exactly what she meant by that until she said, yeah, it works, like it works. I said, oh my goodness, look at modern medicine. Boy, I tell you, I guess honey, listen, I learned something new yesterday. All right, that was very, very interesting to me. So anyway, yeah, so Gabe is he goes and has a consultation with a plastic surgeon, and he's showing us that the area where he is now covered by tattoos, but he has a lot of scar tissue, or not scar tissue, but scarring on his legs. And because they had to take out, I don't know if it was the muscle or skin or for grafting or whatever to create his phallus. So, he's concerned with how the scarring can affect him later on. And the doctor's like, listen, if this is how you scar, you got to be careful because I can't guarantee how your skin is going to heal. So, he's thinking about different things. And, even though I'm getting so distracted about this whole, medical procedure fascination part, but I'm just thinking to myself, why do you need to be worrying about this right now? Shouldn't you be like trying to like figure out how to be bonding with these kids and stuff like that? Because the thing that I didn't like about Gabe, when Gabe got off of the airplane and he was hugging his mom, he was so happy to see her and it was such a warm reunion. But those kids, it was like the kids weren't there. And he's not used to having to be responsible. Now he's going to have to be a provider for an entire family, right? And he's got to make that business work. He doesn't even know where to get the shipping labels and stuff right now. So I just feel like there are other things that you need to be focused on, but maybe they're just doing that to give us some kind of storyline, or, some shock value or something like that. But it is educational. But now that we've learned everything that we have learned, I want to move on away from his genitalia. We've discussed that. I want to go into the, like what's going to happen with the family and everything like that, because that's more important, right? That, the genitalia stuff is more intimate and personal to him, and also as well Isabel, because, that's his partner. So, all right. So, yeah, but the bottom line is, to me, that is not a priority at the moment. I can't tell someone what to do with their body, but just like give that a little time, Gabe. You got time for that. So, especially since it's so inexpensive to get it done down there, just get that done later after you're established. So now, Jen and Rishi. So they decide to fly kites, in celebration, and she's talking to him about, when are you going to tell your family? And he's like, yeah, well, my plan is to kind of like have you come around a lot, and then when they she's like, well, how will I know it's the right time for you to tell them, or for us to tell them that we're together? He's like, well, when they start asking about you. It's like, what? What kind of plan? Rishi, you had 2 years to get this together. You are an attorney. Listen, you may be doing this fitness stuff, whatever, and that's good. That's fine. That's your passion. But you're an attorney. You are an attorney, okay? You are an intelligent gentleman, okay? You're very intelligent. So why had you not thought this out a little bit better, or something like that? I know there's all these cultural, the 1,000-year-old traditions, but you had to have had some kind of plan, at least a plan B or something like that. So then he tells her, he wants her to move in and kind of test it out, live with his family, and learn how Indian wives are expected to, perform certain things around the house and stuff like that. And she's like, no. And he's like, okay, well, how about if I take you to my friend's house and then she'll teach you? And Jen is like, how old is Jen? Is Jen in her late 40s, early 50s, something like that? She's like, I'm not going to your parents' house and doing all of this stuff. Like, that's ridiculous. Now, I did watch the Pillow Talk edition. I don't know if you guys watched that or not. And it was interesting because we got to hear Submit's his little opinion about all of this. And, it reminded me of when Jenny and Submit got together. They didn't show this on film, but originally when he catfished the hell out of her. He pretended to be this white British fitness model. And she didn't know she was going to get this short, dark skinned brown Indian guy with like three teeth in the middle. It was just too much. Oh, God, me and the teeth, right? That's terrible. But I can't help it. I can't help it. So, anyway, anyway, so Jenny, when Jenny flew over to India to meet Submit, she moved in with him like as his friend, and she lived with their family. Now the mom didn't know that they were messing around, and then eventually later on she came back. But so that's what it reminded me of. So and Submit was saying that yeah, this is typical. The not the way that Submit and Rishi are doing it, but typically the daughter-in-law will go live with the mom, and the mom will show them how to do like their daily whatever, whatever. So she's almost a middle-aged woman. I mean, come on. You didn't. It'd be different if you told her, listen, when you come over here, this is how it's gonna be, and you have the choice. Right? She's thinking she's getting off the plane. She's going to get in this apartment. He's going to tell his parents in a week or so, and then boom, now they're going to get married. And that's just not how it's been, panning out. So now we have Nicole and Mahmoud. This is just a goddamn nightmare on top of a tinderbox. This is just ridiculous. So it's the morning time. She's trying to light the stove. She can't even light the stove, right? So I guess she's not used to pilot lights and stuff. And, she's talking about, like, to us, she's not telling him, but she's telling us that she's, like, having some difficulty with the religion. She's thinking about basically, like, ditching it, right? Maybe going back to Christianity, maybe just being a non-religious person like myself, right? Living your life with some freedom, right? And, he goes, well, it's time for prayer. She's like, okay, yeah, I'll be in there later. And he's getting upset that she's not praying because, they got to do that 5 times a day. That is like, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, listen, for someone who is not used to that, to all of a sudden to go into 5 times a day. Now, there's nobody on this planet that's going to tell me that she does not love this boy. She really does. But the problem with these two is number one, he has never even had a girlfriend. Never had a girlfriend. And the only women that he knows are the women like in his family. He doesn't socialize. His society does not, or at least within, where he is in his family, they don't socialize with the opposite gender. So how do you know, like, it's so, I just don't know why she's there. Nicole, you already went there. You already know the deal, right? You wore the hijab for a while, and I guess over there, I'm assuming that in Egypt, it's pronounced hijab. Because I noticed because she said it when she first said it, I was like, huh, is that how they say it in Egypt? But then I heard he said it the same way too. So, hijab, I guess depends on the region. And you already knew about that. And so now they're talking about going to his uncle's place to have a conversation with him about starting a business, because she's thinking, okay, well, maybe I can start a clothing line for modest women that's fashionable. So it's like, okay, well, I mean, that would be a good idea if you really like dressing like that, but you don't like dressing like that, right? So, but okay, it's an income generator. This man he cannot, well, he does have a job, but he cannot provide her with like a good lifestyle. It might be, well, not totally different because I'm such a hardcore feminist guy. So I take that back. I was going to say it would be different if he had a little bit of money and then she could kind of decide if but even if, I don't care how much money you have, if you're going to tell me I got to be up to here in the desert, I gotta wear. Listen, I wear turtlenecks, and I do tend to dress like an old lady. But that's just to me, it's like a fashion thing, right? But my husband is never, ever, ever going to tell me, hey, you can't wear this. You can't. What? Excuse me? I don't think so. No, that it doesn't work like that. So I can't relate to how she has gone from being such a free person to you can't even show an ankle, and they're upset that you're not covering your hair. So anyway, they start fighting, and then she's like, no, I told you I don't want to wear that hijab. And it's just all about the wardrobe again. And she was like, no, you told me it was okay if I could wear something up to here, because remember in LA I was wearing something up to here. He's like, no, I meant down here. I was like, are we really arguing about elbow versus mid forearm or something? Like, this is just so like girl, why are you there? I know you love this guy, but he cannot provide for you. You will have to live in communal living, which you're not used to, and you already said you're an introvert and you get anxious about. You will not have friends. Even your own sister-in-law is like come on, girl, get on board, because over here the friends are your friends are your family, and that's about it. You're gonna have to cover your hair. You can't hang out at the cafe. You can't do this, you can't do that. I mean, my God, I mean, she's lucky she can drive. Like Saudi Arabia, they only let their women drive just recently. That was like a couple of years ago. I mean, I just don't know what she's doing over there. I really don't. It's different if you're down with that or whatever. But no, if I had a daughter, oh my, oof, it would be international incident. I would have the embassy on the line. I'd be like, get my child out of there. But I mean, she made that choice herself, which is just ridiculous. I don't know why she did that. And he can't empathize. He can't be flexible. I mean, even if he wanted to be flexible, I think there's too much pressure from the society that he's in, because people will be looking at him and giving him a hard time. I mean, it's just a bad idea for them to be together. You know, be pen pals. You don't need to be married. Plus, he doesn't have any experience with women. He doesn't know anything about women. And I mean, it's not like he's fine or anything. He's not fine. He doesn't have any money. He's not mature. You know, like, what, girl, what do you see in him? So anyway, Gabe and Isabel. So, while he's contemplating the surgery and talking about his new anatomy and everything like that, they're using that translation app, and oh my God, it is just butchering the conversation. I'm like, Gabe, you're gonna have to work on your Spanish while you're there. Gabe already has a good foundation. I'm not worried. I believe if he puts his head down and really focuses, he'll be able to learn. But the thing is with Gabe strikes me like Gabe is just kind of like into new stuff and like, kind of fascinated with different things. And I think it's like, ooh, Columbia, yeah, that's a good idea. Ooh, I'm gonna date this woman. I'm gonna go over here. Ooh, let me do that. He doesn't seem like he's got it totally all like centered and things. I mean, he still feels a little bit young to me. That's why I'm concerned with him taking on such a big responsibility, like taking care of a family. So, yeah, but anyway, let's go back to Rishi and Jen. So they go to his friend's house, right? So, and his friend is married and introduces Jen to his friend's wife. So she sits down, honey, and she gives her the lay of the land, all the things you need to do. Okay, this is day one of your Indian housewife in training lesson. Okay. They had a very nice place. I don't know what the friend does. Maybe the friend is an attorney who decided not to quit his job and go into fitness, because that was a nice house. Now, see, that's where I want to see a little bit more of that. I like to see the variety. I don't want only the big palaces, but that was a very nice place, and everybody looks so nice. I love like the Indian culture, like the way they dress. I like those kind of like 3/4 long sort of like dresses with the pants underneath. Like she looked nice. I mean, I think it looked good. So, all right, lesson number one. All right, make sure you're listening. You have to put that kettle on, okay, at what time? 4 a.m. All right, 4 a.m. And she's like, what? Listen, let me tell you something. If you told me, oh no. And then the sisters are there too. So she's got 3 women teaching her. And they're like, yeah, this is how it's been done for just, thousands of years. This is just what we do. This is just the culture. We can't change it. That's just what it is. And I'm like, well, change happens in different societies at different points in different ways. It's not impossible to change cultures, but I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. But I don't like that defeatist attitude, like, oh, we just can't change it, But anyway, it's not my culture, so what can I say? So anyway, now we have lesson number 2. Okay, you do not put a morsel of food in your mouth before your husband. What in the patriarchal hell is going on in this world? And people are always like, you guys don't get it because you're Americans and things so different in America and America and America. Listen, and they think it's just like, this made up thing. Listen, as an indigenous person, I'm both of indigenous ancestry and African ancestry. And as far as my indigenous ancestry goes, I'm very fortunate enough to come from a matriarchal society. And there were and well, let me not say were, there still are matriarchal societies here in the United States. So when we say American, it's not always just like we don't have ancestral culture or anything here. We're just a colonized country. That's all. Okay. Go check out the Iroquois societies up in the Six Nations in upstate New York, going across over into Canada. You talk about matriarchs, honey. The clan mothers, the longhouse. That's a whole nother thing. That's a native talk. If you want to hear native talk, I got native stuff over on my Chickasaw chat segment. That's different. But anyway, sometimes I just get so frustrated because this whole idea that the world is so patriarchal, and it is, but not. There are matriarchal societies around the world. And speaking of matriarchal societies, let me go ahead and segue and just go ahead and give another plug real quick, because we will be starting Seeking Brother Husband on this channel, okay? March 26th. Oh my God, I'm so excited. So the first time I ever even heard about this practice of not polygamy, but polyandry, where the wife has more than one husband, which is so, I mean, God, I can't even imagine, but it is done. And there's a corner in India somewhere, I can't remember, and there was a good documentary about that. And these women, they live in this mountainous region where their farmland is all like, it's down slope. It's a difficult area to farm. So it has something to do with the agriculture and the land being passed through the woman, something along those lines. I don't want to go too much in detail because I don't remember. It's been a couple of years, but yeah, but basically the woman will marry someone usually locally within her village, and she will take on a couple of different husbands. Sometimes the husbands are brothers, actual blood brothers. Yeah, and they have kids. They don't know who the dad. They don't do paternity testing, or I guess maybe at least at that time they did it or whatever, and they've been practicing this culture. So there are cultures around the world that do practice some sort of matriarchal thing, and even within those matriarchal societies, it's not where the man is just being subjugated. They have the choice to say yes or no. It's not like the patriarchal ones where women just have like no agency, and there's different levels of patriarchy. It's one country, some European countries are very, very patriarchal as well, but not as to an extreme as some, cultures in the Mid East or the Near East or Far East, whatever. But yeah, so yeah, honey, when she had to find out that she couldn't eat before the man is served and she couldn't have her tea, I was like, this is interesting. I mean, I've had so many Indian friends over the years. Even when I was a little kid, I remember like a family that was from India, and I was good friends with the little girl. I was like 9 years old. Like, I mean, and I would go to their house. I used to love going to their house because I loved like smelling the foods. It was just a different environment, and they were very, very warm and very friendly. But one thing I did not know, and there are different, ethnicities, not all Indians are the same within the country, but I just didn't know that it was so patriarchal in that way. I mean, I'm learning new stuff, but that's why this kind of show is made for me, because I really like learning about different cultures. But honey, yes, I'm from the matriarchal culture of the Chickasaw people, honey. Anyway, that's some old Southern Indian stuff. Anyway, so now we go over to Chris and Jamie. So now, all right, she has been in Colombia, and she's in pain because of her neck injury. And I do believe she has her neck injury. And but here's the thing though. I noticed like some of her positioning. You guys, I don't tell everybody this. It's a little secret, but I do have a little bit of a medical background, okay? So, I was looking at her and the way she was sitting, up against the headboard, and I'm like, wow, with someone with, two bulging discs, and who's like currently, in the midst of like, some sort of flare up, right? There's usually some sort of inflammation that happens, with the disc, wearing away of cartilage. Maybe there's, perhaps some sort of protrusion of, some nerves or something like that. And I'm just thinking, I don't usually see people kind of, just being able to sit up like that up against a hard board. Usually your neck would be, you might be laying on your side. You're trying to take pressure off of that upper, that upper part of your spine and stuff. So I just thought, well, I don't know. It just looked like a little weird to me. And I think about when I have bouts of pain, because sometimes I have pain that's really, really extreme and it's debilitating and I can't get out of bed, but it just seemed to be a little bit different. But I don't have upper pain, I have lower pain, right? But it just, I don't know. And Chris already seems a little like, she seems a little bit suspect anyway. So, I mean, she was kind of, when she was like, kind of leaning over and stuff, I just was like, something's not adding up here. And she's been in Colombia now for what has it been like a week or something like that? And maybe she used to take like heavy painkillers back home, and maybe she can't get those now, and maybe she's feeling, it depends on what kind of painkillers you were taking. I don't know. And then they have a different pharmaceutical setup. Maybe painkillers are easier to get in Colombia, or maybe they're not. I don't know. There's just something I don't want to say exactly, but if you I don't know. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, I don't know about that whole, because when the doctor came for the house call and he gave her the injection, she's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. And I know when you're in terrible pain, you can't wait for that. But all he gave her was it diflinic? I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't remember the name of that one, but I think it was just some kind of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, and yeah, it's di. I don't. Okay, I'm not gonna mess up that name, but it begins with a D and it has like a Flynn something sound in it. And also, they were giving her, and that he was gonna follow that up with a muscle relaxer. And none of those have narcotics in them. And I don't know if she's been used to maybe taking something that was narcotic based, because, that can happen and stuff like that. And I don't know. I'm just not sure because that muscle relaxer, all that's going to do is really, relax everything, but it's going to knock you out really for like a day and a half, which means that when you're on a muscle relaxer, people have to care for you. I mean, you can barely stand up to get to, the bathroom by yourself. So, I mean, I think at first I was like, well, it was maybe Jamie being a little insensitive, like during the first episode. But then it was just too much. It was like, okay, all right, I didn't tell you I need a neck surgery. Okay, my narcolepsy is worse than I actually explained to you. I can fall asleep doing anything, and I have night terrors. I didn't tell you about the night terrors, and I didn't tell you that the surgery is going to be like imminent. If I don't get it, it's I'm going to have further deterioration, and if I do get it, then it's going to be 1 year with like pins in my neck. And then I didn't tell you that I'm allergic to mint. Well, that's not a big deal, but I'm being silly. But now I'm gonna have to go back to Columbia or go back to Alabama for a court case for which I can understand. If she lived locally, she didn't want to get the guy to get away with it. But you're supposed to be focused in on your new life, your new wife. You're supposed to be getting married. Now we're gonna have to postpone the wedding. It's too much. She just comes with a little bit too much. And she didn't sign up for this. Jamie thought she's gonna get her little American wife, honey. They're gonna have their little love nest and everything. Yeah, you said let her go back to Alabama. I think she's got some stuff going on. I mean, she's a little out there and everything like that, but I don't know. She doesn't seem. She reminds me of like something. I don't know. I don't want to say anything because she just Oh, I don't know about I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But yeah, so now poor, Jamie, she's like, well, oh my God, well, are we gonna get married or are you gonna be gone for a year with pins in your neck? How am I supposed to, hold everything down? What about this apartment that I got? Like it's a whole bunch of stuff. So it's just too much. But anyway, so then we find out we go back to Nicole and Mahmoud. So, basically he's upset. He's like, you know what, I can't do this. You don't love me and you don't want to be with me. Excuse me. And he storms off. And then she's telling him to come back, and he finally comes back, and they start fighting more. And then she was like, you know what? If you wanted me to do all of this stuff, then why didn't you let me know? And girl, are these just theatrics? Are you really packing? Are you really gonna leave? Because you will say it's bipolar or you know what? I can't. I can't say. I wouldn't think it's bipolar. I wouldn't think it's that. Only because there's extreme mood elevations with bipolar disorder, and it depends on if you have type 1 versus type 2. I think it's more of a I don't know. I think I don't want, because you're not really supposed to say what you guys could say, but I can't really say what I think it is. But I think she's got some other things going on. You know what I mean? I don't know how. Let's just say I don't know how her pain was being. I believe that she does have that she does have her injury and she does have that she does live with pain, but I don't know exactly how she has been medicating her pain. Okay, that's what I'll say. I have no idea how that's going, and maybe now it's been a couple of weeks. Maybe you don't have your supply that you had before. Now you don't have your same doctors. You don't have access to the same. I mean, of course, in Colombia they have access to medications. I'm not saying that, but maybe what she was using, maybe they won't give her a script for it. I don't know. Something is just off with that. Something is off. But so let's see. But yeah, but I just I think she needs to go back to Alabama. Work on fixing up that house and everything, like split personalities for or well, something, Susan. It's something. It's something's not right, because I mean, if you've ever been around, and I'm not saying that she is, but if you've ever been around people who have like different sorts of alcohol, or different sorts of substance abuse things, sometimes they always got shit going on. So there's always something. Oh, I got to do this because that. Oh, this is it's always something, and they just kind of seem like unstable sometimes. So I'm just not sure if that is the case or not. I do not know. Allegedly, right? I don't know, but something's off, right? So anyway, yeah. So Nicole, she just like, I'm ready to go. You said you wanted me to leave. I'm going. I'm going. You said I can say. so she's ready to go back to the States, and you know what, girl, keep packing your bags, because I think that's what you need to do, right? Come on, look at Nicole. First of all, how is she supposed to get her Botox redone? How is she supposed to get her filler retouched? And what would be the point of even getting it done if you can? Well, no, hijab, you can show your face. I don't want to say that, but did you see when at that other thing when she went to go visit the uncle and stuff? Because come on, her face is frozen to the gods. And listen, I am not judging. I am not judging, because sometimes when you get a little something, you want to fix a little something. I'm not against. I've come from the beauty industry. I'm not judging. I'm not against that. My whole philosophy is, if you're going to get something done, get it done where it's tasteful and it's not very noticeable. Like this Stacy and Darcy, they look like, oh, listen, and they seem like such sweet girls, but my God, I just, some people, but their philosophy is, if I'm going to pay for it, I want everybody to know. I want the fake look. They said that on camera. I want the fake look. So I guess that explains a lot, right? But, Nicole, her face is a little too frozen. And I don't know how all of that's going to do with that desert, that Saharan heat. Like, what? I, listen, every week I'm speechless. I don't know, because I'm just waiting for her to either go back, or like her family's gonna jump on her. Did you see this, like when she was sitting down with the uncle and stuff like that? I don't know, was that the scene for the next episode? I don't remember, but the aunties or whoever it was, yeah, that's right. So like the aunties, and they were wearing like the full on, now I don't know what that's called, but I mean, because I know there's like there's hijab, and then there's the other one. There's another level, and then there's a burqa. Like burqa's like the most, where you just see the eyes, right? And there's something in between. Oh, niqab, I think. So I don't know which one her aunt or whoever that woman. Well, I can't even say that was her aunt. Who knows? Because you just covered from head to toe. I don't even know who she was, but like they're looking like, why is she not like covered, at least her hair, if nothing else? And I'm like, girl, Nicole, just go home. Just go home. This story just hurts to watch. They're just poorly matched. I mean, if you want somebody with some like exotic flavor, you feel like you don't want some boring, milk toast American, you can find somebody else. But get somebody from a society that you can fit into, when you can wear your tank tops, girl, please. She looks like she spends a lot of money on her manicures and pedicures and stuff. Don't you want to show that stuff off? I don't get it. Honey, it could not be me. Could not. There's no places for vacation that I plan on going where I can't wear what the hell I want to wear. And this is from somebody who wears turtlenecks and covered up all the time. But anyway, all that being said, all right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. So right now, I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna go and do this Love After Lockup that I promised on Saturday. I was so dog tired. Dog tired. I was up since 4 o'clock in the morning. I got home. I was so sleepy. I could not bother to even put on makeup, cover up these circles, and turn on this ring light. Okay, I couldn't be bothered. So I'm very sorry about that, but I'm going to do it right now. So if you guys enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and everything. I'll see you guys on Thursday for Married at First Sight, and I'll see you on Saturday again for Love After Lockup. So please stay safe, take care, and chipisa lacho. See you in a few.